we took the decision that with the limited funds we had through some growth funding from the government and through Homes and Communities Agency and the South West Regional Development Agency, we would try and keep as much regeneration going as we possibly could, and that was effectively the town centre paving works and what have you, to at least keep the activity going, and that has borne fruit for the reason I'll explain in a moment, because all the evidence shows that if you get the public realm up to a sufficient standard, then it attracts the private investment in on the back of it. We've seen the BHS scheme now being done down the bottom of town. That was a direct result of them seeing that there was some activity going on in the town centre. Brunel spent £2.5 million removing all those dreadful canopies and replacing them all with the new ones. So there has been quite a lot of investment that's come in on the back of that. Where we are now is that things are beginning to pick up again. The college site should, I pray, should be moving forward in August, September time. I mean, that building, I have tried everything in my power to get that building down over the last 3.5 years, but there was no way I could achieve it. It's in the hands of a private developer, and he wasn't going to spend £1 million developing it when he didn't have to, demolishing it rather, when he didn't have to. But that is now moving forward. It's got new planning permission. It is a revised scheme, so we expect to see that getting underway, which is positive. The Union Square scheme, which is part of what the Wellbridge roundabout improvements are about, is getting underway this year. That is a phase scheme. It's a 10-year scheme, but it will go at the pace that there is demand for the office space, because it's predominantly office space, but there will be retail, there will be residential there. But that gets underway this year. Station Forecourt should be starting next month, and that's one I've been pushing really hard for the last 12 months, but we've had some problems with getting all the partners in the right place to move forward.
And we'll be getting the clock back as well.
And the clock will be the centrepiece of it.
Yeah.
And I've taken a lot of criticism over moving the clock, but my argument is, and I think will be vindicated, that where it was, a lot of people couldn't even see it because it was a bit high up and it was a bit crowded in, and people didn't often realise it was there at all. A number of people I spoke to said, we never realised there was one there until you took it away, and we heard all about it. It's going to be the centrepiece of the new Station Forecourt, so I think that's good. So there's lots happening, but lots still to do, but we do need the market to be a lot stronger before we're going to see real huge amounts of money piling in.
Which brings me on to the Mechanics Institute.
Yes.
1.2 million spent on preserving it in its current state.
Yes. Not a good news story, really, is it?
No.
I vowed on the first day as leader, and it's 5 years ago now, that the mechanics was the one I was going to solve. I might regret saying that because I haven't resolved it yet. It's the big issues are it's in private hands, right? The big issue is not that it's in private hands. The big issue is whether it's in private hands, in public hands, or anybody's hands. For anybody to put the finance to restoring that building, there has to be a sustainable use for it.
Yes.
And so far, nobody's really come up with anything that works other than a hotel. And the problem with a hotel is it involves rearranging the building so much
that it's no longer the institute.
That it's no longer what it was, and English Heritage are against it. So, and I've been quite hard with English Heritage and others and saying, look, we've got two choices with this building. Either we find a solution or we demolish it, because you can't just leave it the way it is.
Situation is, it's deteriorated so far. Surely, logically, anything that you put there now is going to be a parody of what it was.
Well, the good news is, having done the work we've now done and spent the £1 million we've now spent, that building is now watertight for a good 10, 15 years or more. So we won't see any more deterioration. That's pretty good news, because frankly it was in a pretty bad state. A lot of the inside is not in a good state, but the rot has stopped, if you like. It does give a breathing space now. The positive one is that we are working with Prince's Regeneration Trust. They claim never to have failed in a project, so hopefully they won't fail with this one. And they are working with us to work up a scheme to find a solution to the mechanics. From what I know of it, and what I've seen of it, and what I've read of it, I've still got to read the full report. It sounds interesting. The only issue is it's not going to happen overnight. So we're probably looking, if that is a route map to a solution, we're probably still looking 5 to 10 years away, which is not great, because who wants an iconic building like the mechanics looking like that?
Realistically, Rod, I mean, it's going to cost somewhere in the region of, whatever you can put it into, at least £20 million.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
To do. It's a lot of money. That's going to incur somewhere in the region of 1.5 million in interest charges.
Exactly.
So whatever it does, it's got to make £1.5 million profit on a yearly basis.
Yeah, and that is why so far nobody has come up with
anything.
And this idea that the council can buy it, find some money to restore it, and then put it out for community use is frankly a non-starter. If we're going to spend 20 million on that, would we not be better spending 20 million on new schools that we desperately need and we haven't got the money for? So it is about priorities again. To me, the government need to get hold of this agenda, and I know they're probably not focused on it at the moment because they've got slightly more pressing issues with saving the nation. But I think these heritage buildings, if they're important to the nation, we need support to at least restore the fabric of the buildings, to then allow other commercial opportunities or whatever to come in and make the building work. But the sums are too big to expect anybody to do both. So, and that's what I thought the Heritage Lottery Fund was for. We're still trying, but...
So the question has got to be asked, at what point do you make the decision, this building is now a wreck, it's got to be knocked down?
Well, I think, as I say, because of the work that's now been done, I think we have bought ourselves a breathing space. But I do think, and I can assure you, after the elections are out the way next week, it's all feet on the pedals, really, because I just don't think this can go on. I just think if we're going to go down the Prince's regeneration...
No, but that leaves it open-ended to say, I don't think it goes on. We don't say, right,
no,
let's set a date.
We've got what I want as leader and as part of the administration is to know where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says, well, this is the answer and we agree with that, but it's going to take 5 or 10 years, then maybe, but at least we know.
Yes.
At the moment, it's a maybe. And I think we've had too many maybes for too long. We need a bit of certainty.
Brings me on to Coate.
Yes.
Yes or no for the development?
In your opinion?
Well, I'm going to give a totally honest answer here. I've always been against it, right? But frankly, the application that's with us at the moment, there's not a cat in hell's chance of it not going forward, in my opinion. All the legal opinion is that if we refuse it as a council, we will be overturned and have to face huge costs. Because effectively, when we've been very successful at defending applications recently, and one of the ones that we were really successful in defending was the previous application at Coate. But because that was the 1,800 houses and the impact it was going to have on Coate water. But one of the consequences of what came out of the inspector's report and the appeal in defending that was effectively saying that the application that's before us, we almost had to concede that would be an acceptable development as part of that appeal process. So in terms of law, and because planning is incredibly complicated, you'd have to be a councillor for very long to work that out. I think it will happen.
It's more or less a done deal, isn't it?
Well, I believe it is. Now, that's a big issue for people. Now, to me, and I think I've got some justification for saying this, I think the big problem with this development is not so much the development itself, it's the fact that people believe, and not quite rightly in many ways, looking at what happens in the past, if we get this development, it will then creep to the other side of the road, Darehouse Lane, and it will then expand closer to Coate Water. Now, what we've done is we're really negotiating very hard with developers to try and come up to a solution with that through ransom strips, through all sorts of devices to make sure that land can never be built on close to Coate Water. I hope we may be successful in achieving that.
So that buffer zone that was cited as the reason that it was put on hold
to me,
at the moment is still being worked on.
The key to getting public acceptability of that development is to get that buffer zone set in stone that can never be broken.
Almost like common land for the borough.
Yes. And if land gets made over, or any land or ransom strips get made over to the council, I'm more than happy to get them pushed out to a wildlife trust or somebody so that we have no control over it. Because I do not want to see any more land built on in that area.
Going to take a short break there. Back after this from Boyzone, and then, sorry, I'm going to throw a 4-letter word at you.
Okay. As long as it's polite.
You might think it's not.